Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I have the G2 Superion from Combiner Wars. But that's not all. I'm also going to put them up against the G2 Aerialbots from G2. Well, you know. So we have Skydive and Air Raid and Fireflight and Slingshot and Silverbolt. And even, because there's no G2 version, I got a G1 Powerglide because they have a Powerglide for whatever reason. And I'm going to go through both these sets and you can decide which one is better and if you want to have them in your collection. Be right back. Okay, so eagle-eyed viewers have probably noticed that my G2 Slingshot is not quite G2. Well, that is quite true. Subbing in for the G2 Slingshot is a G1 Slingshot. Why? Well, I used to have a couple of them, and this is what's left. There might be some more pieces somewhere, but gold plastic syndrome is real. This guy's missing his, well, he's got his head. It's just separated from his body. And this guy, well, he's got his head, but I don't trust merging him with anybody. So, yeah, I had actually, this is not the same one, but I actually have another G1 Slingshot that I thought about painting gold and maybe getting some repro stickers, and I still may do that one day, but for the purposes of this one, we're gonna use the G1, straight up. So what I'm gonna do here, let's put these guys over here for the moment. I'm gonna open this baby up, and then we're gonna compare each figure, and then we're gonna merge them together and compare those as well. So this has never been opened before. I mean, it is a very nice box. It shows G2 Superion, it has circles with all the jets in it. It shows on the back what he looks like merged. Of course, we're gonna see that. Well, I'll see it in person, you'll see it on video. And he comes with a little poster, I believe. Though oddly, the poster they give you is of the G1. So that's not good. I like a G2 poster. Hasbro, bring me my G2 poster. Still, it's cool. I don't know that that poster was available anywhere else. I don't know if there was a gift set of the G1s. I know that they were sold separately, but there they are. And if I zoom out, you might be able to see them all in the packaging. And I'm gonna break them out. I've got my snippers handy because I'm gonna need them for all these guys. Now, one thing I found interesting is looking at the numbers. These guys all have numbers on them, just like the G2, only it's in reverse order. At least on the package, it's in reverse order. The guys themselves have the same numbers as the originals. So I don't know why the package numbers them in reverse order, but they put the regular numbers on them. There's a lot of snipping to do. So you might hope, because this is a gift set, that they would give them better feet than the little feet fist thingies. I'm not seeing them. Now I do have the G1 Superion, well, it's a knockoff set, and it came with Alpha Bravo, who I didn't read the comics, so I didn't know where he came from, but some people informed me. I still don't have a Quickslinger, as they're calling him on the box, for my G1 version set. Oh, also in the envelope is the instructions, but I'm probably pretty good without them. But we'll put them over here just in case. All right, so we're going to start off with the leader. And since this one's already in plane mode and it's really quick to get the G2 one in plane mode, we'll just do the comparison starting with that. So let's look at the Combiner Wars versions first, and you can just take a look at the deco. Very reminiscent of G2. He's got the little flag type thing over here. It's got the number 5 on his tail fin. He's got the G2 Autobot symbol on his wing and the number 5 over here. And you can see on the bottom he's got some kibble, but he's got the G2 Autobot symbol in what will eventually become his chest. Now he does have this landing gear that you can pull out and molded wheels on the bottom, so you can actually stand him up. And you can take a look at him from all sides. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually a plane in real life, but the original was modeled after a Concorde jet, passenger jet with little windows on it, supersonic, I believe. And that's kind of reminiscent, but very cool. Doesn't have any weapons on him, but let's take a look at the instructions just to see if there's anything where they say you can put the weapon on him in his vehicle mode. Unfortunately, it's not showing anywhere where you can put this, and I don't recall from the G1 set, but I think if I flip that up, you can plug the gun underneath the nose cone. I don't know how supersonic he could go with this gun on him, but you could have the gun here when he's flying, and that's good weapon storage and a hell of a big gun to be shooting at other planes with, or Megatron maybe, or maybe, I don't know, the key to Vector Sigma? Nah, he transformed into robot mode for that. So there he is, a cool looking jet. We're gonna just take a look at the jet mode of the other one. I actually had in a recent G2 favorites video. But there's the original, and there are some similarities, like he does have the number 5 on the same wing, but instead of having a G2 Autobot symbol, he has silverbolt written on there. They both have the number 5 on the tail fin. And the coloration, this one's a little bit darker of a blue, and you can see the bottom. This actually looks less kibbly than this, which is kind of funny. Now he does have weapons. He comes with 2 missile launchers and a total of 3 missiles, but you can only use 2 to load in. And of course he has an additional mode, which I didn't go over in the favorite G2s, but I'm gonna do it now because I can. But he kind of has this base mode, and I'm going by memory, so it may not look exactly the way it should, but you put the ramp there, and I'm not sure if you fold these down or not, but he's like a base, and he can apparently attach to Metroplex, which I've never tried to do with the G1 or the G2. It's kind of a dorky form, but it is there, so I wanted to address it. All right, let's get into the robot modes. Now you don't have to, but I tend to put the missile launchers on either side, still plugged into the wings on the original G2 Silverbolt. And before I go too much further, this gun actually does come apart, so I guess he could use it like this when it's his regular gun, and then you could add this thing, and he could maybe use this as a shield, and then he's in full Superion mode. You can snap it together. So there's the Combiner Wars one, the Combiner Wars G2, in his robot mode. Looks very reminiscent of the original robot, which you'll see him side by side soon. Anyway, pretty cool looking bot. I heard some people didn't really like the Silverbolt in Combiner Wars, but I think he's pretty cool looking. Of course, I may have heard wrong. He may be beloved by all nations, but I think he's a pretty cool looking mofo. And he's in my favorite color for the most part. That fell out, I'm not gonna do that. And he's got some posability. He can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme and then some. Though of course the tail keeps him from going all the way down. But he can kick forward, which is nice. And he's even got this like double jointed thing going on, so he can even kick higher. Back, you kind of run into the tail fin, so it doesn't really work. But forward is good. He's got a nice bend at the knee. He's got swivel all the way around. Now, he doesn't seem to really have an ankle tilt of any kind, but he's got pretty good feet, so you can still pose him pretty well. He does not twist at the waist. That would be nice, but not in the cards with his transformation. The nice ratcheting sound going all the way around with the arm. Can bend at the elbow. He's got a nice swivel, so he can basically pistol whip you. That's almost a rifle. He can rifle whip you. The fists themselves do not twist, but he can go out to the side. I believe I can fly, but very low because, you know, afraid of heights. The head can turn all the way around. And yeah, so he is a pretty decent bot. Gonna put those down. You look kind of ridiculous doing that. But just to give you the view on all sides, here you can see the nose cone down the back, and his tail fins and his wings folded backwards. I suppose if you wanted to, you could spread these out a little bit more if you wanted to give them a little bit more width, but I think that kind of is much more reminiscent of the original G2. Speaking of which, here's the original G2. He's probably gonna fall over as I slowly turn him. Maybe not. But much less posability, just like the G1. And I put the chest shield on it because it makes him look more like the Silverbolt as he was seen on the show. If you take it off, you do notice he has a Autobot symbol, a G2 right there. But I still like the chest shield on him. And he's got the extra weapons. And if you'll notice, he's not really that much shorter than the original. Oh, posability. No Jean-Claude Van Damme. He can kick forward, but he loses half his ass. And yeah, the arms. No turning of the head, no twisting at the waist. Hey dude, try to be stable. I know you've got issues, but as you can see them side by side, he's not that much shorter than the newer Combiner Wars one. And they look pretty similar. They could be cousins. Of course, the head's a little bigger here. He's got a more defined face. Red eyes. I don't know why he's got red eyes. Are you a Decepticon now? But the G2 one has red eyes as well. When they made the toys in the G2 era, they weren't thinking about, oh, red eyes is evil and blue eyes is good. Still, they don't go by that, I don't think. But there they are, and that's the first one. Well, technically number 5. So we're doing a countdown. 5 to 1. All right, in that spirit, let's go with Quickslinger. So yeah, the G1 style Quickslinger, much more expensive than I'm willing to pay. I'm looking at this guy. He's got his gun here, weapon storage. You can stick it to one of the wings, but I really don't like, they should have gave him a second gun, you know, just so it would be symmetrical. But a fine looking little jet. And yes, it's gold, and I'm hoping that they've solved the gold plastic syndrome problem by this time, or by the time of Combiner Wars. So it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall apart, but they never do. There you go, nice Harrier jump jet or something. I'm not a jet expert. Now the G1, who's subbing in, obviously is in the white colors, got the rub sign, red chest, no Rolls-Royce grill for this guy. This one I actually just got recently. He's in really good shape. I got him at a toy show with a bunch of other bots in a bag for like 30 bucks. And I'm like, wow, that was a good deal. I don't think the vendor necessarily knew what he was doing when he looked at the bag, because it was just sitting there on the table. I said, bag of Transformers, and there were 2 Stunticons, there was Slingshot, there was an Omnibot, there was some weapons for that Omnibot, there was a Power Dasher in there, and some catalogs, and the big guns for the Stunticons. And I'm like, hey, loose bag of Transformers? And he's like, yeah, 30 bucks. I was just asking him what it was doing there. And he's like, 30 bucks. And I'm like, okay, you got a deal. I'm not gonna haggle. So yeah, this was in that lot. So it's very nice, pretty pristine white, no real sun damage. But yeah, very cool. And he does have landing gear that doesn't have to be pulled out. This one does have landing gear that needs to be pulled out. So let's put them side by side, take a look. Obviously the new Quickslinger, who I prefer to call Slingshot, is a bit bigger. He's actually about a good 6 inches in length, more than you, Logan. Whereas the original is about 4 3/4 inches, so more than you, Logan. I'm kidding, I don't know what Logan's... Anyway, my name's not Logan. Logan's out there, you know who you are. But still, very cool, new representation of... Alas, poor Slingshot. I knew him twice, and well. But all right, so let's get them in their robot modes. So there's the Combiner Wars one in his robot mode. Pretty cool looking, definitely. His head's backwards. I forgot to turn that around. But there he is, looking very cool. Nice deco on him. It's got a nice G2 Autobot symbol on his chest. Little blue detailing there. I didn't point out on his wings, he's got the number 4 and the G2 Autobot symbol. The 4 looking like the 4 on the original wing. I don't know where the other wing is. Might be in a box over there, but I'm sure it said Slingshot on it, because the other guys all have their stuff. But pretty neat figure, good deco, and I did transform him carefully, because he is still gold plastic, but he seemed to be fine. And posability wise, full Jean-Claude Van Damme, though his little tail fin things, can be folded, but he's still got that tail fin there. So good posability there, no ankle swivel, but he can kick forward very nicely. He's even got a little bit of that double jointedness that Silverbolt has, so he can like kick extra high. And he can actually kick back because his wings don't get in the way. He can kick off to the side, but then the wings get in the way. Can bend at the knee. He's got a swivel, so if you're not careful, you can actually pull the entire leg off. Twisting at the waist, it does do that. That's actually part of the design, because when he's merged together, you know, you can make use of that to pose Superion. And the arm can just about go all the way around, though the wings get in the way. Bends at the elbow, swivels, head turns all the way around, as you kind of noticed when I had it turned the wrong way. And the wings, they can kind of fold back, so some people might like them like that, and that actually helps with all the way around, as long as you kind of swing it out a little bit. That's what I get for not looking at the instructions. Yes, you can fold the wings back, but very cool. And of course, we have the original Slingshot, the G2, when it stayed together, same posability, nothing you can do except move the arms around. I will say, the gun is G2. There you go, Slingshot's about 3 1/4 inches tall. Quickslinger in gold, still about 6 inches. So definitely a big height difference here. But both very cool, and I do like the fact that he's a gold Slingshot and isn't falling apart, though I still need the white one. All right, the other guys, the measurements are gonna be very similar, so I'm not gonna measure each and every one. Counting down, we now have number 3. This is Fireflight. And unlike in G1 and G2, Fireflight here is exactly the same as Slingshot. Same exact mold. I didn't realize that. Someone actually made a comment about that and said they were going to repaint one of these into a white Quickslinger. You know, probably a G1 one or a G1 Combiner Wars counterfeit. You can maybe just get that one and repaint it, which is a good idea. It's a little cheaper than trying to get a actual Quickslinger. But he's very reminiscent of the original, but not the shape. Again, he's the same, but not a ton of kibble on the bottom. And he's got the landing gear. This tail fin moves a little bit. That's actually due to the transformation. So it's a little loose and wiggly. And of course, the one gun that you can put on either wing, and you can't mount it anywhere in the center. It's kind of irritating. But he can fly! And of course, he's got the G2 Decepticon symbol and the number 3. Whereas the original G2, now we're into actual G2 again, he does have landing gear here. You can see him from all angles. No wiggliness here. Different type of jet than Slingshot / Quickslinger. And he's got Fireflight on his wing, the number 3. And underneath, he's got the G2 Autobot symbol, and it says Autobot, not Aerialbot, Autobot, because they are a subgroup. It would be kind of neat if they had the same thing stamped on the bottom of these, but they don't. But there they are side by side. Now the red of the original G2 is a bit darker. This is more of an orange, and the stickers look very similar. They both have 3 on the tail fin, and cool bots. Now, robot mode. Gee, I think I feel like I just transformed this. Now this mold is also used for blast off with the Combaticons as the jet mode, not the space shuttle. Though the head matches more, I think. I'm not sure which head matches. I'd have to check it out later. Or if you happen to have one near you, just check out your Combiner Wars blast off and see which head he actually mimics. Is it Fireflight or is it Slingshots? Because I was thinking of taking, because I have the knockoff Combiner Wars Bruticus and also the Amazon Space Shuttle version of Blast Off. So I was thinking of painting that Blast Off, who's the jet, as Quickslinger, but I don't know. Seems like a lot of work. So all the smaller jets in this set have the same posability. So I'm not going to go through posability for each one, but I will go through deco, pushing back the wings, but exact same stuff. I don't think there's any difference with Air Raid and Skydive, but there will be some differences with Powerglide, most definitely. But you can see this Fireflight. His gun looks nothing like the G1's gun. None of the guns really are reminiscent. They just decided to go with whole new guns. But he's very cool. Same G2 symbol on his chest. He's got the same actual blue patch as Quickslinger. But a very cool bot overall. Very posable. Now G2 Fireflight, who if you didn't know it was Fireflight, he's got it on his wing, is the same height and posability as Slingshot. So, but his gun is definitely different than the G1 / G2 Slingshots. He's got a double barrel blaster here, but they're very cool. Though all the G2 Aerialbots can do that. Be like, you missed my face. These guys don't really have that. Oh, wait. They do. What can you say? Forgot about that. But that is Fireflight. All right, moving on to number 2, Air Raid. They have a little cheat sheet if I forget their names, which I wouldn't anyway, but it's on the wing. So this is the G2 Combiner Wars version. He does not appear to have any actual landing gear separately, but this little nub here, he looks pretty good. His gun actually goes onto his back in the center, and I love that because it's, centered and makes him look symmetrical. You can see he's got the number 2, he's got the Autobot symbol. Now his wings can actually do this. I don't know how aerodynamic that is, but you can at least move the wings out to the side and make him a little bit more, I don't know how that would affect the flight, but I'm sure it does somehow. Or he could be flying like that and then push him back and go faster. I don't know. I don't have a degree in that. He's got the 2 tail fins, which can fold down to the sides, but you don't really want that in flight. And yeah, overall a cool looking jet. Now he is a lighter shaded and a different shade of blue, a little more of a, moving towards teal, but not teal, but definitely a lighter shade of blue than the original G2 Air Raid, who does have landing gear that comes out. And there they are next to each other. Brothers from alternate universes. One where they forget their names a lot and they put them on their wing. They can just refer to that. Who are you? Look at my wing. All right, let's take a look at the robot modes. And the transformation is virtually identical to the others, so no real surprises. Now, if you want in his robot mode, you could flip the wings on the back up, or you could keep them down. And he can fall over. The instructions show moving them up. And he does have these neat little gun things that were under the wings that I didn't point out before. So we'll just stick them up as the instructions suggest. I kind of like it looking like that. There he is from all angles. He has a very small G2 Autobot symbol on his arm. Almost looks like a tattoo. I don't want a big one. This could be a little itty bitty one. Ow, that hurts. But a cool looking bot. I keep saying cool looking bot. That's because they are. Deal with it. Posable, all that wonderful stuff. Now, yes, his coloration is a bit lighter than his predecessor, as his height. It's a bit higher than his predecessor, who of course can just move the arms. Looks like there's a little bit of yellowing on this older one, just a slight bit. He's been mainly sheltered from the elements. And of course he has the G2 Autobot on the side of his wing, bottom of his wing. There they are, very, very cool. And the last of the original Aerialbots, number 1, is Skydive. Now, I do not know during G2 why they numbered them in this way, why they wouldn't have labeled the leader as number 1, why they gave Skydive that designation. I don't know if it was random or what was going on, but like his slightly retooled brother Air Raid, he doesn't have full down landing gear. It's a very similar mold. It looks like they just retooled the wings a bit because they wanted to make them look like different planes, which they mainly did, even though everything else is pretty much the same, except the colors. But very cool jet. I do like on these guys how you can put the weapon on top, in the center, very symmetrical. You know, why they didn't do it with the other ones, I'm not quite sure, but he's a cool jet. Number 1 there. Autobot symbol there, and there you go. Now his gray is about the same as the original. The blue is slightly lighter, but the gray is about the same as the original, which has nice landing gear and has Skydive on the wing. And of course they have the numbers on their tail fins. If I hadn't been pointing that out, you've noticed it, so we're good, right? We're good. But very cool jets. We'll take a quick look at the robot modes. Then it's on the Powerglide and then Superion. I know you're waiting for that. Or you skipped this entire part and you're just went to the Superion part. That's the joy of video, but you miss all my really bad jokes. Now, what's interesting about the legs on these two, they're slightly different than the guys that become the arms. You have a little notch here that goes into the back of this knee, and on the side, it's got a little slot, so it locks the legs into place. Now, interestingly, his wings are attached to his arms. Now, this head that they've given him reminds me of Megatron. Look at that head. Is that not a blue Megatron head? Yeah, so when he moves his arms, he moves his wings at the same time. Though you can fold them back, but it's still kind of noticeable. But he's a cool figure. Like Air Raid, he has a very small G2 symbol on his shoulder, the other shoulder. So these guys both wimped out when it came to the Auto brand. Okay, my mistake. You can actually lift up the arms so you can move them independently of the wings, but if you're just doing that, you're gonna move the wings too. Is there a way? I could have looked at the instructions, I guess, but where's the fun in that? I don't see a way to lock the wings back here and then just have these move, but a cool bot, a cool homage to the original. But there is the original Skydive G2, original. He's not the original, but he's the original G2 version with his weapon. Again, very much smaller, but they're both very cool. Of course, the original and the G2 original don't look like Megatron. Yes, I have disguised myself as an Aerialbot. And finally, before we get into Superion, there is this very interesting version of G2 Powerglide. Now, I don't think that when I got my knockoff set that it came with a Powerglide. I'm pretty sure I bought the Powerglide separately, but I guess he could come together. So he does look very similar to the type of plane that Powerglide was and the G1s. A lot of hinges here. Let's just bring in the G1 to compare. But they both look very cool. This one's obviously a minibot, not as much detail. And unfortunately, when I merge them together, he's not going to be able to latch on to the original G2 for his gun. I do like with the Combiner Wars Powerglide that one, he has landing gear, but also the wings lock into the shoulders, which is better than what happened with the original. But there's the G2 Powerglide and, well, G2 Combiner Wars. And he's not that much taller than the original G1. So, in your universe, did you do stuff with Astoria? My fingers vibrate, dude. Anyway, you can have that tail fin up. I kind of like it down. It's a butt protector that way. Very cool. But now to the part that you've been waiting for. Aerialbots merge into Superion. Holy shit. I just suffered a tragedy. As I was folding back this fist on the Combiner Wars G2 Silverbolt, it actually just broke off. So Be very careful if you get this folding back the fist, because I might have went slightly too far and it just came off. It was like no resistance. Just, I'm gonna have to see if I can glue that, but just so you're aware, be fucking careful. Damn. All right, so there they are. The Combiner Wars G2 and the original G2 Superion. And I'm also here. Yes, as you can see, he can't help, but he can help the G2 version. So there he is. You can see he's a little taller than the original. The original, I think, is about 10 inches. Yeah, 10 inches. Whereas the new one's, I think, closer to 14. No, 12. So a couple inches. Couple inches apparently makes a difference. Right, Logan? But very cool versions. Obviously, this one has a much wider right arm, whereas this has the proper gold. But this one, I can actually probably turn the head in here without breaking it off, which is what happened to my first slingshot. If I just didn't turn it, I may have never discovered the gold plastic syndrome, and my life would have been, well, I wouldn't have been on guard against it for other things, so probably a good thing. But yeah, very cool figures. The camera angle makes it a little bit difficult, but you can see this is the G2 Combiner Wars, and fix your leg, man. Have some respect. And this is the G1. Now, what's interesting is the G2 and the Combiner Wars, they have the top of the jets facing forward for the legs. The originals always had the jet tops on the back, so I went with the classic. But you could turn them around if you really, really want. But two very, very cool combiners, and even though this is the wrong color, it will sit on my shelf. They will join the other combiners, and G1 Superion is gonna be like, what the fuck? But what can you do? Sorry about the language if you have a little one watching. And I can probably still stick, yes I can, still stick the missile launchers on the back of Superion here for weapon storage. So there's a little bit of weapon storage. Still gotta put the other guns away, and they're virtually indistinguishable from the G1 guns. So have to make sure they're separate. And the presence of the missile should help. But yeah, I like both sets. I am still upset that this fist just came off so easily. Very soft plastic. I'm not sure if it's the age, but I will try to align it and glue it so that it can actually be moved back into place. At some point, I will glue it. So if you do get one of these, this is a genuine G2 Superion right out of the box. Be careful of these fists. Gingerly careful. Black plastic syndrome. But I like both of these guys. It's hard for me to pick a favorite, so that's your job. Let me know in the comments which one you like better. I mean, with the caveat, we know the fate of poor slingshot of the G2 variety. But yeah, let me know which one you like better. And I will put links to both of these in the description. You're probably gonna have to go to eBay, but I have nice links so you can go right to the listings. And it really helps you out if you use the links anyway. And while you are deciding which of these Titans is better, you can check this video over here, which is actually a very cool version of Defensor, but oversized. He's massive. Demon Knight, in fact. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.